to order the June 27th, 2017 meeting of the Leominster Conservation Commission. First hearing, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended, there'll be a public hearing to consider a request for a determination of applicability by Jameson Van Dyke regarding the determination of a stream being classified as perennial or intermittent. Address is Pierce Street, map 412, lot 10. Is there anybody representing the applicant?
I am. I'm with the engineer company doing the septic system with it. I'm sure you guys all have copies of all the documentation, or no?
I have a copy.
You got a copy?
I do not.
I can't copy it.
It's probably passed around. There's a couple things. That is, the first thing is a letter from the previous owner, and he owned it for several years, and every year he would witness it dry up, which is a clear determination that it is in fact intermittent. And then Boss Paul, he ran a stream stats. It's a program which kind of takes a whole watershed and runs a bunch of calculations with it. And there's two numbers. It was very kind of confusing because the first way we ran it, or for one result actually said it was 75% perennial, and then another one said there's no way it is. And in the letter, it actually has the values that it needs to be. And the problem was the watershed for this particular stream is so small that the calculations the stream stat program uses doesn't really apply, which unfortunate, but yeah, right here. Does everybody have the calculations, or I should probably get extra copies of them? Under, let's see here, the D99 value, which is the, I believe it's a 100-year stream, or 100-year storm, it's calculated as 0.002, which is much less than the 0.01 cubic square feet per second that is in the regulations for perennial stream, which I guess is the reason why it should not be considered perennial. I wish I had a copy so everybody could follow along, but here's the letter. You guys would like I'll let you take a look at that. Paul was the one supposed to be here, but he's actually on vacation. That's why I'm here.
I just looked real quickly. Was that letter from last year? Where they observed it dry?
I'm guessing they wrote the date on it because we were talking to him.
Because I thought last year we had drought conditions, didn't we?
What letter are you talking about?
Because there was one in there that someone said they witnessed over the summer that it dried
From the
up.
homeowner? Is that?
From previous, they said something like, my brother and I witnessed it dry up
This
on.
one.
That's
on that
from
letter.
He said he bought the land over 10 years ago, and I believe he said each year that he owned it, he said.
Oh, each year?
Yeah, I believe so. That's what he said. He owned it for 10 years. Anybody else want to see the calculation of the stream stat, or? I think I can see it. So. Are there any questions I can try to?
I guess my first question is, you know, we can go through all kinds of calculations and stream stats and stuff, but what is the true definition of perennial stream? Is it literally based off of those calculations, or is it based off of a visual? I guess is my question.
There's a Massachusetts state law my boss references in his letter to you guys. It's the 310 CMR. He says intermittent streams technically typically have watershed of a half a square mile or less, and ours has, I believe, 0.1. Correct. That's correct. And then in those same regulations, it references a perennial stream as having a 0.01 cubic foot per second flow,
Right.
and this one only has 0.002. Yeah, half a square mile is for intermittent, and we have 0.19 square miles.
Any other questions?
My take on this is I'd like to just be able to see everything, digest it, and go see the site. You know, I don't have the information even in front of me.
Yeah.
That's sort of.
Yeah, the owner said he had photos of it dried up, and that I don't know if he said he was gonna send them. I figured he was gonna
Yeah.
send them, but when I read it,
Yeah, if we can get is there an electronic version of all this?
yeah, I believe it was sent somewhere.
That's something, I provided that last week.
Okay, I've been.
That's
been
fine.
a
The
lot
whole
going on.
package is available.
It is, okay. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I believe somebody in the audience has.
John Albert, I just didn't know if there was going to be an open speaker. My name is John Albert, former owner. My brother Jerry's here. There are a couple of pictures that I took in '06. He's got some from 2012 of the brook. I don't live in that area. I live in South Leominster. But I at least, we've owned it, I think, 12 years right in that ballpark. I've seen it dry at least 5 to 6. I don't live in that area, so but whatever I do, it does dry up constantly. But that's basically, if you go down there, you're gonna see this stone wall, and you see the brook. I mean, that's where the brook runs into the pipe.
Okay.
That's of any help to you? You probably.
Yeah, you go that way.
This is like 2012. You can show them.
Yeah, I do apologize. I didn't get a chance to see the packet.
2012. That's 6 years.
I had a lot on my plate. But if my vote would be the only one to hold up the project, I don't really.
Yeah, I think I'm just a little concerned about, there's a difference between calculations and what actually exists, so I would say, Conservation Commission members are a little concerned. It probably wouldn't hurt going to take a look at it, that's my opinion. But anybody else have any thoughts or comments or questions, or?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess my first question is, who is currently the property owner?
Current project. You guys.
Oh, okay.
Dan Prayati.
Dan Prayati?
Yeah.
You're the property owner?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the application says that the name and address of the property owner is Jameson Van Dyke.
Right.
That's not correct?
No, he's in the process of purchasing the property.
He's not purchased, so
Correct.
so the application's incorrect, he's not the owner. Okay. In the cover letter on the RDA form, Mr. Grazowick indicates that the USGS map does not differentiate between perennial and intermittent streams. That struck me as unusual because that's actually what the USGS map does. That's in the definition under the 310 CMR 10.58.
Yeah.
So what I did was I brought in a snapshot of that area for the commission to look at. This is from the USGS map. What it does is it shows that stream there.
Mm-hmm.
That's shown as perennial on
Okay.
USGS. This here is just another area within the county that shows the difference between perennial streams and intermittent streams. Perennial streams, for anyone on the commission that isn't familiar with these maps, they show a dark blue line, thicker line here. The intermittent ones show a thin line. So under the regulations, first part of the definition is a river or stream shown as perennial on the current United States Geological Survey or more recent map provided by the department is perennial. So until you've shown evidence that counters that, we have to presume that it's perennial at this point.
Okay.
Now, one of the steps to go through that is that, now get down to a further section under 10.58. A documented field observation shall be made by a competent source and shall be based upon an observation made at least once per day over 4 days in any consecutive 12-month period during a non-drought period on a stream not significantly affected by drawdown from withdrawals or water supply wells, direct withdrawals, impoundments, or other human-made flow reductions or diversions. A little bit further on, it goes on to describe essentially what a typical competent source is. Department staff, conservation commissioners, and conservation commission staff are competent sources. Issuing authorities may consider evidence from other sources that are determined to be competent. So when property owners give us some information in terms of what they historically see, it's helpful to us, but it doesn't, in my mind, meet what a true competent source under the regs is. I would consider consultants that go out there and document this with video, photos, with specific date evidence, and there's guidelines within the regs on how to do that, along with commission members and commission-supported staff as competent sources. The way I see this going forward right now is we're in the middle of the summertime. If it's truly an intermittent stream, it's going to be dry now.
Yeah.
So within the next few days or the next few weeks, you have the opportunity to go out there, document it now, show us, and I think somewhere it said, someone said that it had to be 4 consecutive days. It doesn't have to be 4 consecutive days of being dry. It has to be 4 days within a 12-month period.
Okay.
So naturally, there's going to be days that it rains, and
Yeah.
you can't always get 4 consecutive days. So if you can show us that it's dry the 4 days, non-drought conditions, or the other things that it lists, then we can take a look at that and go from there.
Okay.
For me to vote on it on a negative determination that it's not perennial, that's kind of the information I'd be looking for.
Okay.
I guess my question is what is the use of this parcel of the land going to be? So what's it,
It's just gonna be a single house lot.
and because it looks like the stream's basically dissecting the entrance of the lot right in half, that's the concern.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's kind of, it follows like more the edge than that, I believe. I don't have the plot in front of me, unfortunately. I believe it's, that kind of shows it going right through the middle. I believe it comes kind of right on the edge of this guy's property here, a little bit more.
Right. Looks like the property owner has something to say. Would you
It-
come forward?
It's literally on the edge of the property boundary, all the way to the right side of the property. So it's not in the middle, but obviously they want to try to get it changed for the buffer.
Right. I guess that's just my question is what's the
The intent was, yeah, just a
intent
single
of
family.
that is, the map shows it's right through the middle.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah,
It's actually more towards the edge.
sure.
The edge of which lot, Dan, 557?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
So this is more over here.
Yeah. That's fine.
Any other members, questions, comments? I would have to agree with Mr. Stone and Mr. Giannakis. I think I'm a little concerned. I would just like to see more information. I do appreciate former owners with pictures and whatnot, but seeing this probably is gonna, at some point, maybe developed or something, it's gonna come near the stream, I'd hate to vote on it without knowing the full scope of it, so. Would you like a site walk or something like that?
Yeah. And just one other thing too is a determination like this actually affects more than just this property.
Yeah.
It affects everyone along the stream, so it's important that we get it right for that reason.
Correct. Would you like to continue it till the next meeting?
Yeah. My boss comes back on Monday, so it might be enough time to figure that out. Get proper documentation, 4 days. Hopefully it's dry up now. We don't get too much rain between then and now, so yeah.
Would you like the site walk, Mr. Giannakis?
Yes.
Okay. We need to vote to continue it, right? Yes. Yeah, all right.
We should
Anybody-
specify a date to
Huh?
that. We should specify a date that we're continuing it to.
Yeah, because actually we don't have a date yet for our next meeting, correct. We'll leave the public hearing open. And we'll schedule a site visit between now and the next meeting. And we'll have to specify a date, so. I guess we're gonna have to pick a date sooner than later.
For July, we'd be looking at the 11th or the 25th.
I'm actually not gonna be here on the 11th.
Neither am I.
How about the 25th?
Okay.
So we'll be looking at July 25th for our next Conservation Commission hearing.
So we'll continue the meeting until the July 25th meeting. And in between now and then, we'll set up a site walk with your firm, the owners, conservation agents, agent and members. And we'll get this wrapped up. We can hopefully make a vote or determination at the next meeting.
Okay.
Do I have a motion for a continuance?
Make a motion to continue to the July 25th meeting.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our 705 hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended. It'll be a public meeting to consider a request for determination by the City of Leominster Recreation Department regarding a construction of a pedestrian footbridge over a wetland, address 160 Chestnut Street, map 516, lot 10. Is there someone here representing the applicant?
Yes, I am. And I do have
If you could state your name for the record, please, sir.
Dick O'Brien. I'm a Leominster resident, and I'm here in the capacity as a volunteer for the Recreation Committee. So let me back up for the people who weren't here last meeting. The Leominster Recreation Department wants to expand the trail network at Barrett Park. They have proposed a trail which we call the Outer Loop. Most of that trail is on land that the Recreation Department has jurisdiction on, but a section of it goes across, or is proposed to go across land under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. And on that piece, we are proposing the trail to cross an isolated wetlands by means of a bog bridge. And you have a crude drawing of the bog bridge that we're proposing to put across this isolated wetlands. The drawing shows the sort of boundary of the wetlands. It's 13 feet wide. The bog bridge, the centers of the sills that will support the bridge, 16 feet out. The total length of the bridge is 20 feet. It's proposed to be constructed with materials that the Recreation Department has in its possession now. Instead of buying materials, they replaced the telephone poles on Chestnut Street recently, and JR, the maintenance foreman, had them stockpile a dozen or so of those old telephone poles at the Recreation Department yard. We'll use 2 of them for the stringers and cut a few sections up for the sills and steps. We have a supply of 5/4 inch by 6 pressure treated decking material. So that's our proposal. I will answer any questions you might have about it. It's a pretty simple structure. We anchor it to the ground simply by drilling holes through the wooden members and driving 1/2 inch rebar down into the ground. It's not really going to go anywhere. The weight of the telephone poles and the anchoring will keep it in place. As we say, this is an isolated wetlands. It does have water in it now, but I can't imagine that it gets to a point where it would lift that bridge off the ground or float it anywhere.
Any questions?
One quick one.
Yes, sir.
Martha, do we have the map for this? We have the detail now. Do you have that?
I don't have the map.
Yes, you don't have that.
Should have been available with documents. I can actually grab it if you like.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure.
That way I don't have to
I
plug my
have
phone.
one here. I'm gonna pass this around. This was like a rough.
Thank you. Okay. You've been to the site?
I have.
I have not, but as I look at the GIS printout, it doesn't look like an isolated wetland from that. Is it?
It's it doesn't have any hydrologic connections to any larger wetlands, but I would say it's jurisdictional wetland, absolutely, size-wise.
Jurisdictional isolated or jurisdictional BPW?
Uh,
I mean,
well-
this shows a large wetland resource with what looks like clearly a stream coming out of it, which would make that jurisdictional
Sure.
and not an isolated wetland.
Like the hydrologic connection doesn't go anywhere. I should say it kind of dead ends, so it's just kind
The
of
stream,
BW.
okay, it doesn't have to go anywhere. It can be a losing stream and die out, but it's still a stream under the regs because it's down gradient of this other.
So it would be
area.
BW.
Or there would be a stream right there. I saw the photographs, it kind of looked like there was a channel there,
There's a
that,
channel.
and that continues up to that other area.
Right.
Okay. So basically, we're talking about a stream crossing rather than an isolated.
I would say, yeah,
Yeah.
but I would say it's definitely more wetland than like bank associated with the stream, you know.
Okay. In these numbers, Dick, on the detail, these are fairly accurate in terms of the span, roughly 13 feet. It did look like a pretty small area from the
Yeah.
photographs.
I went out and measured it again today,
Yeah.
13 feet wide.
I can confirm that as well.
Do we know the soils in that area? Are they all gravel or? Set for now. Anybody else want to see one?
Any other members, any questions?
Time frame wise, if we were to bring, just take care of this at the next meeting, that wouldn't?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
This structure won't be built until November. It'll be built as part of a hands-on workshop connected with the State Trails Conference here in November,
Okay.
here in Leominster. So this is a project that, if it's approved, would be a volunteer workshop within that Trails Conference.
Do you have any concerns or?
No, I actually, just one comment, I think what you guys do is fantastic. I think the trails that you guys are putting in are, a huge value to the city, and, I definitely would like to see the site, but knowing that the work you've done in the past, I don't have any concerns with the actual work itself, it's just more taking a look at the wetland itself.
So would you like to go and take a?
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at
Before we
the
do
at the site beforehand. Is it, we have a map and everything, but is there gonna be a flag there or something?
I have kind of description on how to get there. Check your email, but it has orange flags leaving the trail.
Okay, so yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
the site will be readily apparent.
yeah, okay, perfect. So yeah, I'd like to take a look at it before, readdress it at the next meeting.
Okay. Would you like to continue it to our next meeting, sir?
Sure.
Thank you, all right. Do I have a motion to continue this? We'll leave the public hearing open, and do I have a motion to continue this to our July 25th meeting with a site visit scheduled and or separate?
So, can I ask a question at that next meeting, the July 25th meeting? Will you need me here again?
I would,
I'm getting to the point where I want to bill Jimmy for time spent on this.
I would say no. I mean, we can get in touch if there is a need. We can ask for you to be here. But I speaking for myself personally, I think
Yeah,
I think at this,
I don't necessarily mind coming, but if you don't need me, I don't mind not coming either.
No, you have a descriptive narrative. that
Yeah.
I could, I can give you guys again with this picture.
yeah. So I think
Should cover it.
it's just a matter of us going to take a look at it. And I would agree with Ms. Giannakis that, the work you
Yeah.
guys do is, I'm not concerned about the construction, I just wouldn't mind seeing the stream / isolated / BVW myself. So,
That's fine.
if,
Yeah, I have no
let's put it
problem.
this way, if need be, we'll have Marco give you,
Yeah.
if we think someone is
That's fine.
required,
That's fine.
we'll let
Sounds
you
good.
know, so.
Good.
Do I have a motion to continue?
make a motion to continue to July 25th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, abstained, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right,
Yep.
let's move on to our regular meeting. Certificates of compliance, 1269 Central Street, file number 199419. And I guess my question is why is the same address two different file numbers?
Well, this first order here, it didn't have a file for it. It's kind of lost in there.
Okay,
So didn't know it existed. And in the title search, found it. So that's kind of how it went through. 199419 was for the removal of a oil tank,
okay,
in-ground oil tank. Now the person requesting the certificate of compliance has provided all the information pertaining to the disposal of that tank,
Okay.
and with DEP receipts and fire department receipts. So, just like to speak on behalf of that.
Yeah, sure. Steve Marston Engineering. During the title search, I came in for the next one, which is the installation of the sewer
Okay.
lateral. And then when Steve Boucher bought it, title search didn't pick up the old order of conditions that was not closed out. And then when he went to go sell it, the new title attorney picked it up. So we came in, researched it. Then I went and found all the records for the disposal of the tank to verify that the tank was actually removed. So we found the disposal of the tank, the inspection by the fire department and DEP, Winthrop Steel for the receipt of the tank and everything. So we know the tank is gone, and where the tank is grass. So we're just looking for a certificate of compliance on that. It was 97.
Yeah, it was in 1997.
Yeah. So it's an old one that just kind of was sitting there, not closed out.
Where is this property, was 1269 Central?
Right next to the Jehovah's, just before the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay,
On the
Yeah.
right-hand side.
So that little house, and we put the sewer lateral in just before the paving in November,
okay.
and it took this long for the house to sell. But now we're ready to close it out and get rid of it. So we're looking for the certificate of compliance on this old, and then the sewer lateral.
Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Question. Marco, you've been to the site?
Yep.
Is it fully vegetated?
Yeah, the site where the tank was is fully vegetated, correct?
Well, all the work that was done for the sewer line and then
It's,
any
yes,
grading?
yes.
Okay.
It's in the process of being vegetated, I'd say. It's taking.
So it's not really, I guess your cover letter said that it had been hydroseeded, or?
So the seed has taken, it was hydroseeded, well, now it's been almost 4 weeks since it was hydroseeded. So the grass is growing, so the erosion control is still in place, but the grass is it's sprouted.
Sprouting?
Yeah.
Okay. My own personal preference in terms of being permanently vegetated is that you've been able to mow it a couple times, so it hasn't gotten to that level yet.
I guess it depends on how often you mow your grass.
Yeah. Well, this year fairly often.
I've been mowing my grass every week, so
Right.
I don't know if they've mowed it. It's been 4 weeks since
Well, to
since
the
I
point,
hydroseeded
could-
it, so.
they could, yeah.
So it's been a month since I hydroseeded it.
It's taking very well, the hydro seed.
Okay.
So, you know, it's not 100% like, turf, but it's taking. And it was hay bale erosion controls there. So,
So I guess my follow-up to that is if you took the hay bales away now, and we had a pretty good thunderstorm, is anything gonna wash away?
most likely not.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
From the downburst we had on Sunday and the downburst that we've been having, there's been no erosion that's occurred in the hydroseeded areas, so they're stable.
Okay.
There's nothing's backing up against the hay bales and silt fence that are in place. So we haven't had any events yet this spring that have caused any erosion, so it's holding.
Alright. Awesome.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to order issue a certificate of compliance?
Can I just ask, actually?
Yes, sir.
I kind of was thinking about this, but I had a question about the tank removal. Everything's all set with the tank removal, like whatever you would need normally for,
Right.
that's all in place?
That's all in
Okay.
place.
All right.
Yeah, I went and got the fire inspection,
Yeah.
fire department inspection, the DEP permit, the Winthrop Steel receipt for the tank, so.
I'm just not familiar with that process, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure
no.
before we voted that.
Yep, we have all the proper
Okay.
paperwork for that. Yep, and there was an actual plan that was submitted. We found that, Bobby Proctor did the work.
Yeah.
So we found the plan that was submitted for the removal of the tank. So it's been your condition is it was done in conformance with the plan as submitted, and the order conditions reference the plan. We found the plan from Bobby Proctor,
Okay.
so we have everything in the file.
All right.
I
Thank you.
did have a chance to review all that documentation. and
Okay.
From my experience, that's kind of normal practice.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that's all, just to
I would assume if they had all the documentation that was presented, that it was done, completely
Yeah.
done by DEP standards, so.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, do I have motion for a certificate of compliance, DEP 199419?
Make a motion for a complete certificate of compliance for DEP file number 199-419.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, certificate of compliance for 1269 Central Street, DEP 1991040.
Yep, this order was issued January 1st of 2017. This was for the abandonment of an existing septic system on site and sewer lateral to connect to Central Street. The work has been done. As you know, the area is being grassed, and they still have the hay bales in up there. So we have the as-built. We have a letter from the engineer, and everything looks like it was done.
Work's complete, we're just waiting for mold grass. Okay.
So the Board of Health signed off on everything. Do we have a copy of that for our file?
I don't have a copy of that.
This is probably a good idea to just have it in the file.
That's a good point. So I can get that.
Yeah, I don't have the sewer department did the inspection on the tank crushing, and we have the pump receipt. So I'll get you a copy of the pumping receipt and the fact that the sewer department was out there and witnessed the crushing of the tank. So I can get that for you.
Sure.
But I have the certificate of compliance from the sewer department to show that it was installed properly, and as part of that was the abandonment of the tank.
Okay. Because it used to be that the Board of Health would actually, they must have just changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I know there's some sort of certification that you get.
Yeah.
I can't remember who.
Yeah, as long as we have it for the file, that's all.
I can check with the sewer department, just, get an email from them saying they were at the site
Yeah.
and confirming that it was crushed.
I just want to make sure we're doing this. Is that okay to vote on, but without that certificate or that information from the city?
I've never handled a disposal septic system before, so
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, the way I see it is they're fairly confident all the work's been done.
Right.
So once we issue the certificate, they can't do anything out there without coming back to us. I mean, that's the risk you take. So if you know it's been done. that
I was
work
there
is-
and saw the crushing the tank, so.
And you've seen the site's been stabilized,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm comfortable at this point.
Okay.
It's-
yeah, I'm fine.
Any other comments, questions? Do I have motion for a certificate of compliance for DEP 1991040?
Make a motion for a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 199-1040.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? You are all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Be too much to ask if you sign those, because the closing is waiting for them. Or can I pick them up in the morning, or what?
I mean, it's your guys' call if you want
I
to
can
sign
pick it up
now.
first thing in the morning if it's later.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that way if one of us wants to read it or something, that's
Sure,
great.
no problem. I'll see you in the morning. Thanks. Great,
It'll be
thank
signed
you.
tonight, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any extension permits, Mr. Bengrazi?
No extension permits,
Do we have any communications?
no communications.
We have minutes to approve. Has anybody read them or not read them for April 25th, 2017?
I apologize, I did not look at the minutes.
I read.
I have not.
So we don't have enough people to vote.
Okay,
I haven't approved them yet, so.
that's fine.
So we'll put them on the next agenda. The March 28th, 2007 minutes. I'm assuming the same thing, Mr. Giannakis? You have
Yes.
not? Okay. We have not?
I have not.
Okay. So we'll put them on the agenda for next meeting as well.
Okay.
Do we have new business?
No new business.
I have one, if, just so that I'm not really dragged in the middle of this, if somebody gets an opportunity, Leominster High School, by the CTE, there's a collapsed culvert, and dirt is eroding in and getting in, but it's also a huge safety issue because you can actually see right down.
Really? Okay.
And they're gonna be doing football there pretty soon, so there's gonna be a lot of little children. But there's a substantial amount of material getting in, through the collapse.
Where's the culvert?
If you know at Leominster High School, the CT entrance, if you were to drive around the back of the high school.
Been up there in ages.
Yeah. So when you're going in, there's like a CTE entrance and a high school entrance. So the CTE entrance is on the left. If you were to go in by the CTE and go you're going around the building, there's a big plastic speed bump there.
So the culvert's.
And the
within
culvert's
driveway?
right to the left. Yeah, it's off to the side.
Is it on the side of the building or the back?
It's on the side, like the
Like
CTE
if you're
side. There's a
driving-
garage. There's like
Okay.
a
Yeah,
garage by
okay.
CTE, and it's on the other side of that.
Hmm.
But it's definitely you can see right underneath it. So
Okay.
it's a environmental and a safety issue.
I was gonna say,
Who oversees school grounds?
yeah.
That's the thing, I notified DPW about it. I didn't get word back from them, so I'm wondering who is responsible for
Yeah,
that.
it would be Anthony Shibarasi is the
Okay, so the school
facilities
department?
director. Yeah,
Okay, so
it's
I'll,
on school grounds, so I would assume that it's.
okay. So
but,
I'll
but I don't,
refer that to Anthony.
I mean,
but I just don't want to get involved in this one because of.
Yeah, I would, yeah, definitely a safety issue. We should probably get some cones,
It's pretty
barrels.
gnarly.
And if there's some environmental erosion, sediment or something going in there, have someone throw up some silt fence or some hay bales or, wattles, whatever we can do to try to keep that.
Sure,
Just kind of report back to us.
you got it.
Any other new business? Old business, 767 Willow Street driveway.
I don't have an update on this, and I wasn't able to review the city council meeting last night. I know that they had a hearing on this. I contacted the lawyer from Copeland and Page who wrote that letter regarding the property and our options on it. Last meeting, requested that I seek more information from Copeland and Page regarding how it was handled in the past in other communities. So I reached out to them and expecting a reply back regarding that, some examples that they can give. So I'll forward you all that information when I get it.
Okay. Enforcement, 723 Willard Street.
I left you all last meeting with a letter that I wrote that was, I wanted you to review, and then I was going to provide that to Copeland and Page to send to the property owner. If you've all had a chance to review that.
I did review it. I have no comments at this time, so I'll open up to the group.
I was not at the last meeting, I didn't see that letter.
Okay.
Email that to everyone.
Do you have any comments or questions, Mr. Stone?
I mean, it basically is requiring them to do what the original letter said,
Right.
and that was how long ago now?
Year and a half. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm fine with sending them another letter, but are we just gonna sit and wait another year and a half and hope they remove it, or?
Correct. I personally, I reviewed the letter and I think it's fine as written. I think we should decide as a commission to put some sort of a time limit, a very short time limit, for some sort of response. I know we've heard back from Bill Hannigan at one point, with some questions, comments, and recommendations and questions, but I think we've been kicking this around for so much that, this is what we're requesting, and, potentially be at the next meeting, I would hope, with some sort of resolution, comment, or some response back other than just nothing. So that would be my comment or recommendation.
The letter doesn't have a time frame for them to get back to contacting us. It says you are hereby ordered to contact me with your plans, but it doesn't say by such and such a date. So we should probably have that in there.
Yes.
Because we could be sitting for another year. or
No,
two.
I would definitely add that to
Yeah.
the bottom of that letter.
The letter's, well done.
Thank you.
So,
I just took what they had wrote, what Copeland and Page wrote, and refined it a little bit to be more assertive, if you will.
a little bit more specific, I think, was our.
So I guess the other question I have, Marco, is this letter coming from us, or is it coming from
That's what I
Copeland
want
and
to
Page?
know. Now, I could send this to Copeland and Page, because they wrote the original letter, and I can have them send this on their official letterhead. Or,
That would be my suggestion,
Yes.
that it comes from, right.
okay,
Yeah.
so I can supply that to them.
And if they need to make any edits in their mind, then,
That's fine.
I mean, what they wrote last time was pretty well done, so.
Yeah. So I would agree that we, say the July 25th meeting, that gives them just about a month if Copeland and Page can get it to them and in their hands in the time frame, because I know that sometimes can be an issue.
Right. Yeah, I could put it on there, and if Copeland and Page is fine with sending it as written, then
Yeah.
so be it. If they have a problem with the time frame, then I don't foresee why they would, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to send, say you need to be at the next meeting and they don't get it handed to them until July 24th,
Right.
But I don't want to prolong it any further. That's, again, my
Yeah,
opinion.
and the other part of that is we're asking them to do the same thing we asked them to do
Right.
a long
Yeah.
time ago, so.
Right.
It's not like they all of a sudden have to get together and say, oh, well, what do we do
Talk a lot
now?
about
It's-
stuff.
Yeah, it's.
Right.
They've been aware
Yeah.
for a year and a half.
Right.
Right, so, you know, I don't know how quickly Copeland and Page will take your request and, you know,
I'll check with them and see if they think that time frame is doable.
and my recommendation would be, if not, definitely the next,
So
you know,
in
the next available meeting that they can get it done in their hands, so. yes, sir.
Alright. Is there like a if-then kind of thing, like if we don't hear from, like, when does the, something
Sure,
happen
enforcement.
to actually make this, bring it closer to being resolved? Like, I mean, it seems like, you know, we're just kind of tiptoeing around asking, please, can you do this, please, can you do this? When we haven't really discussed, you know, the fact that, you know, like a discussion is one thing, and we've, you know, they've come in before with something, and which was really, you know, a 20-year, you know,
Easement,
lease of the
correct.
land so that they could enjoy it for the next 20 years. And I just think there needs to be something in place that says, you know, we're expecting, like there should be a timeline, an expectation of when, you know, when we want this removed. You know, it's not something we're,
Well, and my take on it is you go back to the original letter, immediate removal. You know, we're not here to grant them X amount of days to allow them to use it. It's in violation of Chapter 97 land, so. Or, yeah, it's.
What is our legal enforcement, I guess? I mean, we're kind of already under an enforcement. I mean, the city solicitor sent these letters, so I guess what is our next step of send a letter saying, hey, we're requesting you remove it again. I guess what is our next legal step? That I don't know. I don't, you know. I mean, we say immediately and they don't, so then what is our next legal step? That I can't answer. I don't know if any member can, but.
Well, ultimately, if they don't remove it, then you'd have to get a court order enforcing them too, I
Yeah.
would think.
Okay.
That's what the original letter states.
I mean, it's not a wetlands issue, so you're not gonna get DEP
DEP,
involved
right.
in that.
That's what I mean, so it's more of a legal aspect because it's conservation land, so.
I mean, there are groups outside of municipalities that do this kind of thing, but I mean, I would like to see it handled internally. I think that's the best way to
Right.
do it.
Right.
it just seems like we're spinning our wheels asking, you know, like for the same thing again and
Right.
again.
Right.
Well, ultimately, it's trespass on city property, so wouldn't the city solicitor have to pursue a court injunction or order to?
Yeah, that's, I guess, my question of what is that next step?
I would assume.
Some
I
sort of a
mean,
court order.
We're the stewards
Sounds
of the
like.
land, but we don't have the authority to do that.
Right.
I don't think.
Okay.
But the city must. City property.
Can
Yeah.
we
I mean,
request
if I built
guidance?
something on city property, I think the city would tell me to remove it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If can we request that guidance from, along with this letter, request, you know, our next step, you know,
From the city
from the
solicitor.
city solicitor.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
would, I would,
so we have a direction, because eventually we're gonna have to discuss it further and, you know,
Correct.
whatever, but without that guidance from the solicitor, it's kinda hard to, you know, they should be able to give us, you know, a list of things that we need to do.
What do we
to get
do
the wheels,
next?
to get things in
Yeah.
motion.
yeah, I would ask that of the city solicitor. Might be furiously writing notes down there. Okay.
No, I got it, so, yeah. We could all be grouped into my contact with them.
Okay.
What are our next steps?
Are we good with the letter as written, except for adding the date of our next meeting
Yep.
to the contact me line in that letter?
I'm good with it, but I would also add if you know, the legal counsel feels that something needs to be tweaked, then give them the ability to do that
Yeah,
without coming
yeah.
back to us to
Yeah.
review it again.
I
Okay.
would go with that, so. Should we vote on that? Do we need to vote on that?
We just vote on it.
Yeah, we'll take a vote. So do I have a motion for the letter to be sent to the city solicitor with the added date of our next meeting, along with legal guidance to the commission?
I'll make a motion to accept the letter as written with the addition of adding the date of the next meeting, giving the attorneys the liberty to change the wording as necessary for legal purposes, and that we seek legal guidance from the city solicitor as to our next step in resolving this matter.
Do I have a second on
I'll
the
second
motion?
that.
All in favor? Thank you, sir. 375 Harvard Street. When is the date?
The
That's my
date
first
would be
question.
60 days that we allowed from
Was it June
May
or July?
31st.
Okay.
So it would be July 30th.
Have we had any communications at all with them?
I'm in the process of, I contacted him, but I'm in the process of issuing an official letter to him, like I mentioned last meeting. But
Okay.
he knows that we gave him 60 days.
Was it through email, actual phone conversation?
Actual phone conversation, but
Okay.
you know, it needs to be in writing, and
No, that's fine.
so.
But he's aware that come July 30th, that's the end of,
He is well aware,
okay.
in my opinion.
Any questions, comments?
I have some questions.
Sure.
Last meeting, we were given a plan, an updated existing conditions plan from Whitman and Bingham. And then there was the, I guess, a previous plan that we approved under an order of conditions. Is that right, Marco?
That's correct.
I spent a little bit of time looking at that, and one of the questions I had is that detention basin that's on this design plan actually in?
No, it's not.
So that building's there and there's not a detention pond?
That's correct.
Was that portion of it ever specifically mentioned in any enforcement we've given?
No, it's not been formally.
So the building's up, it's occupied, correct? And there was never any drainage infrastructure?
There's drainage, there's no defined basin infrastructure.
I'm just confused how it got to the point where the building's occupied and they actually don't have a detention pond there.
Sure.
And what, well, let's not get into too many specifics on it. I mean, it just looks like there's a lot of problems with it, so.
In the original order, 199781 expired in 2015, September 13th, 2015. So
This go to site plan approval? I mean, what other boards have seen
Steps for
this?
Planning board would have seen it because they changed the use of that building. So there would have to be site plan approval for it. Or at least a special permit.
Oh, when you say change the use, so this was an existing building before they got the order of conditions from us?
Right.
Okay.
This is an existing, it used to be an old factory, and now it is, they have a couple commercial businesses in there. They have a bookstore, they have a landscaping supply store.
So what triggered the detention pond? Was it additional parking? Was it driveways?
It was for I believe it was for the drive around. And
Yeah, they had to add pavement, and they had to raise some of the pavement up to allow for like a loading dock, I believe. And then an area that was a loading dock, they filled it in to bring it up to grade so that you could walk in the doors. So they had done a lot of outside. I remember when because it was ESP lock, and then they made it into, you know, commercial use. That was,
I believe they did a sewer line as well associated with that.
And the, just roughly, when was the order issued? What year?
I don't have it right in
The,
front of me.
I'm sorry, the order conditions.
The original order of conditions, this fell under, I don't have the exact date in front of me, but it fell under the Permanent Extension Act, so 3 years on top of that. Would have been issued, I believe, in 2008.
I'm all set for now.
Any other questions, comments? All right. We'll wait to hear back. Emergency certs, Moose Brook.
Yep. So there's a emergency certification that we have yet to formally issue. So I made some tweaks to it. The DPW director had reached out to us about doing a potential site visit with any interested commission members. So that can be scheduled anytime, really. And that would be a good opportunity to see what's going on down there, see what we're kind of talking about in this emergency cert, and a time frame on the official permanent fix for the wall. So I think that would be a good opportunity to kind of all get on board.
I like that idea. Because I know there's some people have gone down there and looked, and some people have some concerns about maintenance and some sediment removal and whatnot. So obviously it's not going to get fixed by our next meeting, so probably not a bad idea to have a. Would that have to be done during working hours, or would the DPW director be willing to?
I could discuss that with them.
Okay. Just send us out a little, is it doodle, or whatever it is then. I mean, ideally it'd be nice to be after hours, so as many people can make it as possible would be great.
Agreed.
Comments? Okay. Any project updates?
If anybody's interested in.
There's a project going on at the Mall of Whitney Field by a company called Earthworks, right by Market Basket. They've got the entire road completely fenced off. And so it's like they're putting monitoring wells or something.
That would be for the Sac Boulevard. I believe that's what you're referencing. That came in for an order of conditions through us.
So we do have that, right?
so with the two restaurants
Two
in the
restaurants.
middle of the parking lot.
Right, I remember the rest, no, it's not in that parking lot.
It's to the left of one.
It's across the street from that parking lot.
I'll have to scoot down there and take
Oh
a
yeah,
look.
because they were talking about, yeah, I assumed it was part of that.
They were talking about those food establishments was going to go where the carnival sets up.
Right.
Right.
It's
And this
not
is in,
there.
yeah, this is in
It's
front of
on
that.
the
I
other
didn't
side.
even think of that, now that you say that.
Yeah, it's a big project. I mean, it's a huge hole in the ground.
You know when they started?
At least
About
about
3
a week
weeks ago,
Few-
4 weeks ago. I saw the machinery coming in, and I just assumed that it was for the project that we had discussed.
Sure.
And then I was down there today and I looked, and it has nothing to do with that. It's all over in the other parking lot.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
But it's a big project. I don't know what they're creating. It looks like a lot of tubes that are going into the ground of some, so I was gonna go over and ask them today, but I didn't. I probably should have.
I didn't even, you know, I've driven by it several times and I just assumed it was part of that restaurant. I didn't even think of,
Unless they're doing some
Down there.
underground utilities to feed into that area, maybe.
no, but they would have
They
shown
would
that in
show
the
that,
plan.
yeah,
Yeah.
because there was no disturbance other than the parking area.
Yeah.
The company is Earthworks. There were several good-sized trucks, and there was a cleat excavation machine of some type that they used to dig the hole out. It's a big operation.
Jeez, okay. We'll get down there tomorrow and see what they're doing.
Take a look.
So it's close to one.
It's right at Market Basket, right? Between Market Basket and the Burlington Coat Factory store. that
Okay,
big
yeah,
parking
okay,
lot.
that's where, okay, all right. Yeah,
In fact, you can't drive through there anymore.
no, you can't.
They've got everything blocked off.
Alright.
Alrighty, well, I wasn't familiar with any additional projects down that end of town, besides,
Again, I thought
Sac
it was the
Boulevard.
one, I thought it was the one that they were in for the restaurants.
That's what I thought you were originally talking about, so. Alright, I'll have an
Check
update
it
for you
out.
guys on that
I'll
one.
take a peek at that.
Anything else? Budget?
Last meeting, I confirmed the budget with all you
Yep.
wonderful people, so, I don't have any update on that, I haven't put any money into it.
Okay. So the same as last meeting, basically?
Budget still stands.
Same as, okay. Agents report,
We need to pick, well, we already picked our July meeting date, but we need to pick an August meeting date as well. So for August, we'd be looking at August 8th or the 22nd.
I'm good with either.
Yeah, if it's the 22nd, I
22nd.
can't guarantee I'll be there. I gotta move my daughter into school. I don't know when that is yet,
That's okay.
so, but
Yeah, I will be on the 22nd.
Well, maybe we could wait till the 25th and maybe I could propose a week in between the 8th and the 22nd.
I can try to find out between now and then too, so.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
talk about it, but yeah,
Alright.
I don't mind moving it to that third week. I know it's usually the second and the fourth, but.
That third week, actually, I won't be here. Not that that matters, but
That matters.
That makes a big.
thank you.
I wouldn't be here at the third
August
meeting.
8th.
You wouldn't either? Alright, so,
Okay.
we'll get some definite, we'll make, so it would be the 8th or 22nd.
Yeah.
Probably more the 8th, but we can confirm that the next meeting is fine.
Alright, still stands.
Chairman's report, I do not have one this evening. Our next meeting is July 25th. With the filing date of, I can't remember.
Oh,
How many days?
The week prior, hold on, give me a sec. Okay, July 25th. So, that would be July 13th.
With the filing date of July 13th. Anything else anybody would like to discuss? All right, I declare this meeting adjourned.